Anthony Joshua says he would go in and try to knock Deontay Wilder out. He wouldn't even try to outbox him. I must say, the clout chase is phenomenal. What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Make sure you smash the like button. Also, subscribe to the channel for the latest and greatest in boxing. If you want to become part of the gang, notification gang, please hit the bell icon. Shout out to the Super Chats, channel donations, the Venmo donations, the Cash App, and the Patreon family. We working. Happy New Year, 2020. You know, this is my good luck candle. You guys can see. See if we can get that. I wish everyone a great year, prosperous year. And also sign up for ESPN Plus. Using my link, it does help the channel. Let's talk about it. I'm looking forward to a good year of boxing. In fact, a great year. I think the stage is set in several divisions: welterweight, 154, 175, heavyweight, 135 is jamming right now. A lot of talent. Heavyweight, Wilder's fighting Fury, and Joshua's clout chasing again. Sky Sports, link in the description. As you guys see, it says AJ Wilder would be gone within 6 rounds. Anthony Joshua would aim for an early knockout win over Deontay Wilder. The rival heavyweight champion holds all 4 titles. They keep talking about this. The fight with Wilder Fury is for the #1 heavyweight. As far as I'm concerned, the #1 heavyweight is established February 22nd. Says the rival heavyweight holds all 4 titles between them. Joshua regaining his belts, beating Andy Ruiz, and Wilder defended his WBC strap against Luis Ortiz. Joshua produced a masterful display of back foot boxing. Oh my gosh, Sky Sports is killing me with this literature. Defeat Ruiz Jr. on points in a boring fight. They forgot to add that. But insists he would employ a far more aggressive style to prevent Wilder from finding the range for his destructive right hand. Analyzing Wilder's win over Ortiz, Joshua told Sky Sports, quote, "He wouldn't be there to do that in the 7th round. I would go in to knock him out. It's heavyweight against heavyweight, champion against champion. This is a serious fight, so I ain't going to go in there and try to outbox him for 12 rounds because of his punching power as well. I've got to go in there and take him out. Don't let him get too comfortable in the ring with me." Wilder has enhanced his reputation as the Bronze Bomber in 2019, blasting aside Dominic Brazil within a round earlier in the year. That was in May. Although Joshua insists he can defuse the heavy-handed American. Quote, "Nah, not scary, but I know it's there," says Joshua when asked of the threat of Wilder. So he said it's not scary. Oh, this is fun. "There are certain punches, some are like concussive, some are stinging, and some are like punches where they knock you out with one punch and you're out for the count. Wilder possesses that kind of power. It's about eliminating that power and just studying how to deal with it, really." Joshua is waiting news on his next fight after being ordered to make title defenses against Kubrat and Usyk. Wilder, who confirmed his rematch, as I've stated, with Tyson Fury in Las Vegas February 22nd, has reportedly called for one champion, one face, one name. Joshua remains willing to accept this challenge if the Alabama man emerges victorious. Joshua says, "We've done it. We've unified it in the space of 20-odd fights. He had 40-odd fights. How come he hasn't managed to unify the division yet? If he's looking for it, we're the ones to do it with, and we're not hard to find. We've got a great team behind us, so reach out. Even though there are 2 at the minute, I'll let the people decide who they think the real heavyweight champion is. I always say we're in the same division, the same era, and the fight has to happen. We just put on an amazing event. We're going to do another amazing event, God willing, in the next year, in the new year. he could come and be a part of history. We're trying to achieve big things in boxing, and add Wilder to my list would be an honor. More clout chasing from Anthony Joshua. I don't believe anything he's saying as it pertains to Deontay Wilder. You know, we just got to get the cat out the bag. That's my personal opinion. He's saying the right hand's not scary. I disagree 1,000%. I think Wilder, the ability to hurt and knock down and knock out every single person he's faced is pretty scary. Because Wilder versus Tyson Fury, truth be told, Tyson Fury unconscious, eyes were rolling in the back of his head. Most refs would have probably stopped it. So that too would have been a knockout. You can add Bermane Stiverne from the first fight, but he went and tackled Wilder when he got hurt, and then he was saved by the bell. Beyond that, that was Wilder's first title fight, so he probably didn't want to do too much, and, you know, the knockout didn't come. But he more than made up for it in a fight that I covered at the Barclays Center in the Bermane Stiverne rematch, where he knocked him out viciously, and Stiverne didn't even have an opportunity to really throw any punches because Wilder was on him, and he knocked him down 3 times in the first round, brutally knocking him out. His dreads were like stuck in the ropes, and, you know, I don't think Stiverne's been the same since. This, I'm not going to play it for copyright reasons, but him knocking out Brazil, I was at that fight too, covered that for you guys, same thing. So, you know, Joshua, he can say whatever he wants, but it's all too coincidental and it's all too convenient that he's heavily mentioning, this is why it's a clout chase. He's heavily talking about Deontay Wilder and the prospects of fighting him, and the right hand's not scary, but, you know, he just has to be alert and switched on. But he's doing it when this article, whoever wrote the article, Ego, and the whole boxing world knows that he is booked up and he's in a tough fight with Tyson Fury, who can box. Some people thought Tyson Fury possibly could have won. Some people thought Wilder won. Some people thought it was a draw, etc. So it's mighty coincidental that Joshua is going to, Wilder's first fight of the year is a dangerous one in Tyson Fury, an arch rival, who's a very good fighter, very good boxer, bigger than Wilder, will likely outweigh Wilder, is taller than Wilder, longer arms than Wilder. And Joshua will probably be fighting somebody who's closer to 40 in Kubrat Pulev, who's been knocked out by Klitschko, a guy he beat. Oh, but wait, it's because it's a mandatory. So, you know, it's not really thrilling for 2020 in the heavyweight division on Joshua's side. And again, this clout chasing in boxing is getting absolutely atrocious and ridiculous, where we're seeing guys really mention fights that we know they're not likely to happen. Like, everybody seems to want to fight Tank, and these different guys are with different promoters, and they're young in their career where they could still develop, where their promoters will likely try to allow them to develop. But, you know, Ryan Garcia, Devin Haney, and the different fighters are mentioning a fight that's probably not going to happen. No matter how much the fighter themselves want it, do you think Oscar De La Hoya is going to put Ryan Garcia in with Gervonta Davis at this point? You know, do you think Eddie Hearn has the power to make Devin Haney versus Tank Davis on DAZN, where Devin Haney is contracted with? Probably not. He didn't even get Devin Haney, Luke Campbell, or Lomachenko. So how is he going to get Tank, who just sold out ATL and is a rising superstar and budding star and a bona fide star? You know, it's just not likely. So it's just, to me, it's all malarkey. You know, talking about Wilder's meeting the Pope. He has 2 knockouts of last year, 2019. It sounds weird saying last year too. 2019, Wilder had 2 knockouts of the year. His momentum's riding high. If he beats Tyson Fury, he's absolutely the #1 heavyweight. I think he is right now, but, you know, that would just solidify it. Now Joshua seems to have crawled out the rabbit hole. When he lost to Andy Ruiz, he wasn't really vocal. And then now that he outboxed, brilliant outboxing, like Sky Sports says, off the back foot, which was rather boring, you know, and he was very hesitant to engage. He really didn't look like the same Joshua of old, but he done what he had to do to get the victory. And now he's mentioning Wilder. It's just really the oldest trick in the book. You're going to mention a guy who's booked up that, you know, contractually, this article even references it. I have my room booked for Las Vegas, as well as some fans have already purchased their tickets. I know people Eagles Army that have already purchased tickets for the fight. People coming from, some people that live in Vegas, but I also know people who are coming from New York and the East Coast, 5-hour flights, 5+ hour flights and things like that to actually not cover, but to go watch the fight. So the whole world knows Wilder's booked up with this man that you see on the screen, yet and still Joshua's continuing to use his name. Oh, what a difference a year makes, a year and a half. Before, Joshua was the man. He had the belts. Eddie Hearn and Anthony Joshua, they overplayed their hand. They said Wilder was clout chasing. He just wanted to fight. He said he was going to smoke Joshua out. God willing, he did that. And now, what a difference a year makes. Now you're seeing Anthony Joshua and Eddie Hearn consistently talk about Wilder. And Wilder is not really even pressed about them. He's not really worried about them. Of course, he wants to fight, but he has a good nemesis who's a better showman, I would say, and Tyson Fury. Tyson Fury is from the same region, so he brings that country behind him, and he's a better showman, and he's also undefeated, something that Joshua is not. So even though Joshua has all the belts, I think his performance won the belts, but it didn't win people's hearts. And this just looks bad because Eddie Hearn and Anthony Joshua accused Wilder of clout chasing by mentioning his name, and they said he was coattailing off his name when Wilder just wanted to fight him. Now, nobody's even worried about Joshua. I think his stock has definitely dropped from the Ruiz fights, even the victory, because people seen the performance and it was still, he did what he had to do and he crawled from a dark place, got the victory, but it just wasn't anything memorable. It wasn't this memorable like Mayweather Gotti. There's been tons of fights where I've thoroughly enjoyed somebody sensationally outboxing someone, like let's say Guillermo Rigondeaux versus Nonito Donaire. I definitely enjoyed the boxing clinic that Rigondeaux put on, but he even hurt Donaire in the 12th round and had Donaire backing up with his hand over his eye, seeing double. We didn't see any real sustained action like that because Joshua was fighting kind of skittish. But again, that's how he felt he had to win. And now he's talking about, I would not outbox him. I would go for the knockout. Well, you should have did that in 2018 when he was pressing you, and you instead fought Povetkin. Wilder said he would travel. It's just weird. It's weird. I'm hearing Joshua interviews and headlines. He's saying he wants to fight Wilder in the UK. I feel like, yeah, he has the belts, but people don't have the belief in him that they once did as he was built up. His popularity has definitely taken a hit. And most people that I think that I've seen don't believe Joshua would beat Wilder or Tyson Fury. In fact, ESPN just did a roundtable with Andre Ward, and ESPN's Mark Kriegel, who's been in the sport for a while, said that most people believe Tyson Fury would outbox AJ, and he said Wilder would blitzkrieg Joshua, which is basically obliterate Joshua. He said blitzkrieg. That's not good. So it's really sad actually to see how bad Joshua and Eddie Hearn overplayed their hand, and they robbed the fans of such a beautiful fight. Undefeated Joshua versus undefeated Wilder. Now that enigma, that allure, that luster is gone because Joshua, we've already seen him lose. If Wilder were to fight him and knock him out, it wouldn't be as shocking as if Wilder was the first to do it, because we've seen Joshua hurt multiple times. Dillian White fight, we've seen him hurt versus the Klitschko fight. I even seen him get hurt by by Joseph Parker. I think it was to the body, but you have to have a trained, keen eye to have witnessed that. There's different severities of being hurt. But now, Andy Ruiz already thrashed him. It was a horrible night. He hasn't come to America since. His body type has changed where he's losing weight and stuff. I just don't think people have the same interest in the Wilder fight. The biggest fight in the heavyweight division right now is Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder, and it absolutely establishes the number one in the sport. So it's just sad to see that the UK and Anthony Joshua and Eddie Hearn, they allowed these things to happen, and Joshua overplayed his hand to such a level where he's almost like a relic. And even though he's a champion, it's not the same as before when he had the belts, when he was undefeated, undisputed, people don't have the same faith in him. No one's even really talking about Joshua. I'm just making this video because this is what I do. I report on boxing, and I seen it, but I haven't really heard much people like, oh, I can't wait to see what's in store for Joshua's 2020. So he's basically been relegated to doing what he said he didn't want Wilder to do, which is clout chase and mention Wilder and mention knocking out Wilder. But you had 2018, and whether Joshua wanted to fight it, you should have took the 50 mil, 50%. You came to America and lost for less than that. This would have been a huge pay-per-view at the very least. You and Andy Ruiz wasn't on pay-per-view. You had a relationship with Showtime. Wilder was on Showtime. You would have got that pay-per-view money plus a guaranteed 50 mil, and it was all squandered, So it's just, really a shame. It's a shame to see what it's become. And like I said, this performance, I don't think it garnered new Joshua fans. I think the existing Joshua fans were just more so happy that he got his belt back, but I don't think it lit up the division or anything like that. So Joshua's still a good fighter, but he's definitely clout chasing because he's continuing to talk about knocking out a person he refused to fight in 2018 and how he would fight him. And again, aside from that, his comments, it's easier said than done. Yeah, okay, go to war with Wilder then. He says it's a serious fight. I'm not going to go and try to outbox him for 12 rounds. So, okay, let's see you nullify the right hand, because nobody has done that so far. Nobody has nullified the right hand. Wilder, since he's been a champion, he hasn't even gotten knocked down. He got hurt by Eric Molina and Luis Ortiz, but they didn't knock him down. So, there's a difference. Joshua, we've seen knocked down 5 times in 2 fights. Klitschko 1 time, and then 4 times with Ruiz. It's like, what are we talking about? Not to mention being hurt, like I said, by Joseph Parker and Dillian White, where he was obviously buckled and buzzed. And, this is not including what we've heard rumor-wise about Daniel Dubois in sparring, David Price in sparring. We've heard all the rumors. Joseph Parker even had like a montage of all the clips of people saying Joshua was hurt in sparring. We've heard of the Joey DeVecco. It's not the same fight, people. We've heard the Joey DeVecco. There was even rumors that he got hurt in the camp right before Ruiz too. Just different things like that. So, it is what it is. But it's sad to see that Joshua's been reduced to clout chasing Wilder. I want to see Joshua have this same energy in between fights when Wilder's next fight hadn't been announced, but we never seen that. We heard Joshua quiet about Wilder because, he was triggering a rematch or didn't mention him. And then now that Wilder's booked up, he's consistently talking about Wilder and how he would fight him and call us. And it was like, what part of the game is this? Like, why is Joshua saying call us? You call us if you want the fight. Mayweather's a boss. Mayweather didn't say call us and, you have my number, get in touch with us. Mayweather says, Maidana's coming off a good win with Broner. Here's an offer. Fight me. Maidana looks it over, him and his team and his manager. Boom, boom, boom. Fight's done. Joshua is acting like he's still the A side, but then he's saying Wilder needs to reach out to us if he wants to make history. It's just, he doesn't hold the same weight, literally, no pun intended, that he once did. It's my thoughts. Let me know what you guys think. Still a good fight, but I'm not really interested, especially 2020. And I've been on this tip for a while. I don't want to spend too much time in boxing if it feels like clout chasing. I'll do it at my leisure. If I feel like making a video, then I'll make it. But this is clearly clout chasing because you're mentioning a man you can't fight next, period. Unless something happened where somebody got injured or something, and it would have to be Tyson Fury, you're not fighting him next. So it's like, what are we even wasting time talking about how you would fight him and how? Let's have Joshua announce his next opponent, which is probably Kubrat Pulev, is mandatory, and then talk about that fight. Talk about how great Kubrat Pulev is and what threat level he is and how he pulled out of your fight 2 years ago, 3 years ago, whenever it was scheduled. Let's hear that. I want to get boxing back to reality, where we could talk about what's in front, especially on DAZN. I've noticed it with DAZN fighters. DAZN fighters particularly, a lot of them, not all of them, but a lot of them they keep talking about fights when they got their own thing lined up or likely lined up. Like Joshua's supposed to fight either Kubrat Pulev or Usyk. What I'm hearing is Usyk might fight another tune-up with Derek Chisora, which would leave Kubrat Pulev. So Kubrat Pulev should be the front runner, because why are they even talking about Usyk, Derek Chisora at heavyweight if they want Usyk to go straight into the Joshua fight? So once again, it's likely he's going to fight Kubrat Pulev, and yet and still he's mentioning Wilder, who is contracted to fight another guy, date, time, venue, 2 networks covering the fight, and he's still talking about Wilder. You know, you look at Demetrius Andrade, great fighter. He's scheduled to fight in Miami a week before Super Bowl, January 30th, but he's talking about the Charlo. Eddie Hearns is talking about, oh, we sent Charlo a massive offer. It's just like, let's talk about what you can actually facilitate when you can facilitate it. That's what I would love to see in boxing, because anything else is uncivilized, and to me, it's clout chasing. If the guy's booked up and you can't fight him, you know, let's talk about who you can fight. Let's talk about real life and, you know, the reality of the situation. The reality is Joshua's probably going to fight Kubrat Pulev in that new venue in the UK. So let's talk about that. Let's build that fight. And if no one's interested in the fight, better luck next time. But I don't really want to spend so much time talking about Ryan Garcia, Tank, and, you know, Andre Charlo, and there's no indication that we're going to get any of that next. You know, Joshua Wilder. So that's my thoughts. Drop it in the comment section what you think. Happy New Year. As always, hate, comment, and subscribe. Till next video is Ego signing off. So if you enjoyed this video and want more content like this on the channel, you can show your appreciation by going to the PayPal donate button or the YouTube support button, and you can donate any amount that you feel is equivalent to the value of this video. Much more to come. Thank you guys for your support. Boxing Ego, the future of boxing.